Hi everyone, how are you all doing? So it's the 22nd of April today, and I haven't been around for about 2 weeks. My last video was about 2 weeks ago, so I'm sorry about that, but I have been busy doing stuff in the vegetable garden. So today I'm just going to give you all a tour. So it's going to be a complete tour of all my container grown fruit. I'll take you into the greenhouse. There's nothing planted in this bed yet except for the garlic and onions, but I will show you them. We're going to put the potatoes and that in here soon, so that'll be the next video. But I just wanted to get an update in. So this is the mid-April update. So we've got about 2-3 weeks until we're frost free, hopefully, but you can never tell for sure. But anyway, I've been doing quite a bit. I've got a lot of stuff growing in the greenhouse. It's pretty much full in there. So I'll show you. We'll just update you on absolutely everything that I've got growing at the moment, except for my trees, which I will do a separate update, because I know a lot of you are just into your fruit and veg and you've not got much interest in the trees, so I'll keep that separate. Anyway, so I'll sort this camera out and we'll take you on a little tour around the veg garden. Okay, so it's time for the vegetable garden tour. So, like I said, there's nothing in this bed yet, except for the garlic and onions at the end there. So we'll start off there, and I'll show you the garlic. So these were put in October, I think, or November last year. So they're all doing really well. So I've got a fair few in there because we eat a lot of garlic, and there's a second batch which I put in. These are about a month or two old now, so these are much later, but that just means I will get a second harvest, which is good. And there is a few onions in here as well. Not many, but these were just ones that randomly popped up. So where are they? There's one there. That's an onion. That's an onion. And I've got a load more onions on the go in the greenhouse as well. That's an onion there. So they're looking really healthy at the moment. So we've had some really nice weather. It's been cold at night, so but they don't seem to mind too much. So the onions and garlic, they like the cold anyway. And there's a few more onions here. So they're doing well, looking nice and healthy. I just had to water this for the first time this year because it was getting so dry. Because we haven't had any rain for about 3 weeks now. That's almost unheard of in April. So I think we've had about 4 millimeters in the whole of April. And we're normally at about 120. So everything's getting so dry. This is like the desert. And look at this. In April. Anyway, so I'll show you all of my container grown fruit. I grow all my fruit in containers because this is a rental property. I don't want to put anything permanently in the ground. So these 5 big pots here. These are all currant bushes. These are new additions which I salvaged. These were just, I was digging them up and I couldn't throw them away. So I thought I'd just pop them into pots. And if they live, they live. If not, there's no harm done. And all these here are the cuttings that I decided to keep. I'm going to try and give these away or sell them. So they're doing really well. They've got some flower buds waiting to open. And they're looking really healthy. Even some of the big ones, the big cuttings, are taken. So If you are taking currant bush cuttings, you can get a really good head start by taking quite a big cutting. I mean, this one looks like a really established bush, but that was just a cutting. And these 6 pots here, these are spearmint, I think, or peppermint. They got a really nice smell to them. Shame you can't smell it. It smells lovely. I don't know what I'm going to use it for. Maybe you could make some sort of oil with the leaves or something. But that smells amazing. And this was all in one pot, and I've just stuck the spade in between and divided it into 6. And they're all doing really well. Lots of new growth on them. So down the middle here is last year's cuttings. So these are well and truly rooted cuttings from last year. And that was a new addition there. That was a wineberry, Japanese wineberry. And that is a cross between a blackberry and a raspberry, I think. But that was just a stick one I picked up from Morrison's a few weeks ago. It's got lots of new growth. It's got lots of spikes on it as well. So this one here, this tree is a cherry tree, and the buds are just starting to open on that. I showed you a video of me potting up this. This was a bare rooted tree. And that's looking good. If you're interested in that video, I'll try and remember to leave a link. Or you can just go back, it's only a few videos back. This is another currant bush. This is the mother plant which I took all these cuttings off. So there's plenty of flowers on this. So I cut this back really hard last year because I need to keep it in this pot, and it was just getting too big for the pot, so I cut it back really hard. But it seems okay, lots of flowers, so we'll probably still get some fruit on it. This happens to it every year. I'm not sure what this is. If anyone does know, if you could let me know in the comments. I mean, it might be aphids because I have seen a few. Yeah, there's one there. So that's probably aphid damage, I would imagine. Yeah, but it happens almost every year. It gets them marks on the leaves. That one there's a gooseberry in the middle. Again, cut back really hard. But there's plenty of flowers on this one as well. So it's looking really healthy. So hopefully we will get some gooseberries. We got some last year, but I think the birds munched most of them. That one over there is my Chardonnay white grapevine. This hasn't come out yet. This is normally quite late to come out. So that's a good thing about all this cold weather we've been having at night time. It's actually stopped things from coming out too early. Last year we had problems with frost later on, so everything had already come out. This one here is another currant bush. It's looking good as well. Lots of flowers, not too many. And there's nothing on this branch. So I don't know if that's died. But there is a way you can tell. So if this was dead and you scratched it, it wouldn't be green. So that's green, so that branch is still alive. And there's a bud there actually. So that's just how it goes. That branch is further behind than the others. That there is my raspberry. So last year I only left 4 canes to grow, and I've tied them up each one of this obelisk here. And that's looking good. There is some flowers in there. These containers and them 4 there are all strawberries. So they've really started growing over the past couple of weeks. And they're looking healthy. The frost doesn't affect the strawberries, so you don't need to worry about frost on your strawberries. You do need to worry about aphids though. I can't see any on there. If you look underneath, if there is any, you'll see them underneath. That one is a Kiwi Vine. This was bought last year. And this was from Morrison's, a little tiny stick you get for £2. But they're very good. They do live. They do grow. You just have to wait a couple of years before you get anything off them. But there's buds on it. There's one there. There's actually a leaf starting to come out right there. So that's like the grapevines. That'll come out later. So a few more weeks and that'll come out. That's a grapevine there as well. This was sown from seed. This is probably about 2 years old now. But there's lots of buds on it. And it looks like the leaves are going to come out very soon. Hopefully after the last frost. Because this will get affected by the frost. The grapes, the kiwis, if they come out too soon, the frost will kill the leaves off. And that'll put it behind probably about 2 or 3 weeks. It will recover afterwards, so it's not a massive deal. But last year, my grapevines all got affected by frost because this time last year they were all out in full leaf because we had a really warm spring. So the benefit of having a colder spring is that it keeps these dormant that little bit longer, so they're safer from the frost. This was a new addition this year. This is a blueberry bush, Patriot, from Morrison's, I think, or the garden centre. Might be the garden centre actually. It was only a few pound, and I don't expect any fruit on it this year. Obviously, it's very small. So this year will just be a year of growth for it, and next year, hopefully, we'll get some blueberries. So it's not an ericaceous compost, and I have had blueberries before, and I haven't put them in ericaceous, and they're still fine. So who knows? Maybe it was just slightly acidic compost anyway. But we'll see. If it doesn't do very well, then I'll just repot it into some ericaceous compost, or I'll just feed it ericaceous food. This is another grapevine here, again seed grown. This one I cut back a lot further as kind of an experiment to see what the difference would be. And see, it's got buds there. And this was another kiwi. This one was only bought last year, I think, so it's only about a year old. But we've got buds there. Again, more strawberries here. These were all the runners from these plants here in these 4 containers. Produced so many runners last year. This is probably about half of the ones that actually made. I just dotted them in here. So some of them were really, really small with hardly any roots on them. And I just snipped them off and potted them in. Didn't bother waiting for the roots to develop. Just snipped them off, poked them in the soil, and they've all taken. Almost every single one. Even the very, very small ones. Chickens have been in there. Chicken dead. So chicken dead's good fertiliser, but not when it's fresh. It can burn the plants if you put it on fresh. So even that one there, like a little tiny one, even that's taken. And this one here and this one here are both fig. So these come out much later than everything else because they're more tropical. But they've got buds. I don't expect them to start opening until the frost is well and truly gone. But they will. They'll prune these like this. If you let them go wild, there would have been 10 times the amount of branches. But I want to keep it small in a container, and I want 2 main branches going up with all the off branches coming off of that. And these will be the 2 main stems, and I will keep the 2 main stems to thicken and allow the little side branches. Hopefully that'll be where the fruit will grow. This one in the middle here is my new plum tree, Kazar. So I always wanted a plum tree, since we do like plums. So bought this one. This was $5.99 from Pound Structure, I think. Wasn't looking too healthy. But we'll give it a go. It was a bare root tree again. And it has got buds, and if I scratch it here, you can see green under there. So this is well and truly alive. If you scratch right down at the end of the tip, if it's alive there, all of this will be alive. So you can tell that these buds are good. So these should start opening up soon. These 2 big trees here, just try and get my shadow out of the way. So we've got an apricot and a nectarine. This one here is the apricot. These were $12.99 each from my local independent garden centre. Lots of buds on them. That's doing well. And this one here is the nectarine. Hang on, I'll take you back to this one because I'll put the variety on this video, mainly for my own benefit. So this is apricot orange truss orange. And this one here is nectarine, Lord Napier, just in case I lose this label at some point and At least I know it's in this video. The blossoms coming to a bit of an end now, I think, some of it. The frost may have got some of these, but it does have new ones waiting to open. So this is about 8 foot tall. Really nice, healthy tree. And for $12.99 each, they were a bit of a bargain. So the last thing to show you along here is my herb planter. So we've got the chives in here. I already harvested these a couple of weeks ago. You can tell where I've chopped the top. And they've just gone crazy. So I'm going to leave these now, these flower heads, because the flowers are quite nice. And when I do harvest it, I'll try and avoid cutting them. And there's a lot of other herbs and stuff in here. Some more of that peppermint. I don't even know what half of these are. So if anyone can identify any of these, I'll tell when they're a herb because they smell lovely. So this was all completely dug out by the chickens, and this is all new growth. So all this is sprung back. That one's a lemon balm, I think, and some sort of sage. So these are the seed grown. So there's quite a few in here. So I may have to separate these out at some point. I think that might be parsley. More of that peppermint. So this spreads like anything, so probably not a great idea putting it in here. And this one possibly thyme or something. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Okay, so I'll take you into the greenhouse now. I'll do a separate recording for that, so I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so just before we go into the greenhouse, these two here are lavenders, which were massacred by the chickens, so I've moved them in here. And all these green bits are new this year, so they're recovering nicely. And in here, I won't bother opening it. This is where all my flowers, me and my wife's flowers are. There's snapdragons and China asters, chrysanthemums, nasturtium. So these are all going from seed. They're chrysanthemums. So I thinned these out. There was obviously more than one in each module. But I'll have to remember to come back out later and close that down. Oh, and my new addition, my new gardening tool. I'll show you that quickly. Well, it's already my favourite thing. Hori. So, really handy tool. Anyway, I'll probably do a review video on that at some point. So, but if you research Hori, HORI, you will find all sorts on them. It's a Japanese gardening tool. It's amazing for digging, planting, weeding. This is here just to stop the chickens getting in if they do manage to find their way in here, which they do sometimes. And all my acers, my Japanese maples, I've had to put in here because they were getting damaged by the frost, because they all decided to come out. So this one here is not even, this one's been wiped out completely, but it will recover. Anyway, I'm not going to show you the trees because I'm going to do a separate video on that, and I won't bother with the flowers too much. Show you quickly. So these are just random pots of flower seeds that we've put in. No idea. Sea lavenders, poppies, daisies, carnations. These are all for the planters and the flower bed out front of the house. And there are 2 orange trees there, which I grew from seed a couple of years ago. They've sprung back to life now. They did kind of die off. You can see where that top bit there is die. But they have really started growing again now that the weather's starting to warm up. Okay, so I'll start you off on the other side. This is a more interesting side. So the tomatoes are out in the greenhouse now, and obviously they're not particularly loving it because it's still a bit nippy, but they've been out a week or so now and they seem to be okay. And them sweet corn I put in, the incredible F1, they shot up really fast. They seem to be doing alright in here as well. And this is a sweet pepper. It's already got flowers on it. So I will leave the flowers for now, but you can take them off to encourage growth rather than fruit. And there's a few more tomatoes, Ealdy. This compost is not very good at all. Doesn't seem to matter what I do, it goes mouldy on the top. It doesn't dry out, so they're not too happy in there, but they're looking alright. What was that one? Tigerella. So I need to separate them out soon, so I'll be doing that soon. Do a video on that. We'll have a day of it, separating all these seedlings. And these were my first sowing of sweet peppers back in January. These are sweet bell peppers. They're doing alright, getting quite big now. I'll say the frost gets, well, not the frost, but the cold gets them a bit. But like I said, I've got the 2 greenhouse heaters in here now. So they're keeping these nice and warm at night. I only put them on for a few hours at night just to give these a bit of warmth. Mainly if it drops below 0. If it doesn't go below 0, then these will all be fine. These are cucumbers, German ones from Aldi, no, from Lidl. So I just popped 3 seeds in each pot as a test run. They seem okay. More cucumbers here. Chinese Schlangen. I did put 3 in there. We got 2 come up. One of them kind of rotted off in there. So that dodgy compost again. And these are the watermelon sugar babies. So out of the 3 seeds, 3 of them have come up, so that's good. So I purposely planted them all near the middle so that I can cull the two weaker ones. But whether I'll decide to separate them or not, I don't know yet, but just gives me the option just to cut them off and leave one in there. And just some more tomato seeds there. Tigerella, Yildy, Roma and Red Cherry. These have only been in there a few days. And obviously it's a bit cold in here to germinate them, but they will germinate eventually. And these were my first really early sowing of tomatoes because I got impatient. So 28th of January they went in. And this is the problem with doing them so early. I've only just been able to put these out, and they're huge. They're about a foot and a bit tall, and they've already got flowers on them. So, and suckers starting to come out. So really there's no point in starting them that early. That was just impatience, me being impatient. Anyway, I'll take you around to this side. Yeah, so I've got two trays of leeks here, both different types. One of them was an organic type, can't remember the varieties. I might have written it on there. Carrington and blue, I think that was blue solace or something, I don't know, doesn't matter anyway. They're just leeks to me. Cauliflowers. The last video I did was transplanting these, so you can see how much they've grown in the past couple of weeks, because these were tiny little things. Now I'll put in there, and a couple more pots of leeks here. There were loads in here, but I've just thinned these out to about 1 inch apart. And onions staccato. Again, thinned these to about 1 inch apart in here. And we have a random little seedling in there. A little weed probably, looks a bit like a sting now. It's probably not, but we'll leave it in there for now. And all these onions, which we pricked out and transplanted in my last video. So every single one of them survived, and every single one of my cauliflowers has survived. I did get someone say, don't hold them by the stems, hold them by the leaves, but that may or may not be the right thing to do, but as you can see they're perfectly fine, so that didn't affect them at all. This was my onions. If you remember earlier on in the year, I sowed loads of onions in individual pots. The chickens not the chickens. What happened to them? The wind blew the cold frame over, and they all ended up all over the place. These are the ones I salvaged. So this is the only onions from my homegrown onions last year, but they are doing okay. Starting to thicken up now, so I'll be able to plant these out soon. And back there is some more Stuttgarter giant onions. So it is with an earlier sowing than these ones, but they're all doing well. And Brussels sprouts in there, all doing well, looking nice and healthy. And cabbages looking good as well. I'll have to plant these all out soon. I've got to put some sort of netting up, otherwise they'll just get munched the second I put them out. And what are these ones? More cauliflowers. So these were the same age as the other one, but transplanted into these slightly earlier. So you can see the difference. Not much difference now, but at the time there was. So they're a little bit ahead. So the sooner you can prick them out, the better. These are the 2 tubs of potatoes we put in. So this one, these have only just started coming up the last couple of days. And the spider back there. And I haven't seen anything in this one yet, but I'm sure it won't be far behind the other one. And these are Japanese maple cuttings and seeds. Oh, and a random chestnut. A couple of other bits, but they'll be on my tree video. So if you want to see more on them, keep an eye out for my next tree update video. Because I've got lots of trees to show you. All the maples there. And outside, I won't show you too much, but I'll be doing a video on them soon. Okay, so we're about done in here. So I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay guys, so that's it for today's video. It's been a really long video, so I do apologise about that. I hope you made it this far. If you did, if you enjoyed it, if you could subscribe. Anyway, so this video was just to show you everything I've got growing on the vegetable garden as of now, halfway through April. Mainly for me as well, so I can look back at these in the future. But if you enjoy watching them, that's great. So the next video will be a bit more interesting. We'll probably be putting out some potatoes in here, and I've got some potting on to do, and I've got some more seeds to sow, general bits and bobs. So keep an eye out for my next video. Also got another tree video coming up. I'm going to do an update video next, so I'll show you all the trees. So if you are interested in growing trees in pots, sort of like ornamental trees, stuff like that, keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so, if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up, it really helps. And feel free to leave a comment. Anyway, thanks so much for watching guys. I'll see you on the next one. Hope you have a great weekend. See ya.